War Stories, Operation Sea Lion. The new epic single-player and co-op campaign. This is the story of imminent German victory in the heart of Britain. And your chance to rewrite history.
Hey, hello.
Hello everyone, welcome to another World Tanks Console developer stream. My name is RaiBOT01 and I am joined with Jeff Gregg. He is the lead game designer for World Tanks Console. And what are we going to talk about today? What happened today this morning?
Oh, we turned on Sea Lion. We launched Sea Lion.
Yes, we did. And this is another, what would you call it, story chapter segment for War Stories. As you know, we've unveiled War Stories a couple days before Gamescom, and then we launched them on August 22nd, correct?
I'm going to take your word for that.
Yes, there you go, that.
It's such a whirlwind of development, like when we played the final build versus
Yes.
when Sony and Microsoft got the final build versus when we flipped the big red lever and everyone out there in the wild got to play the big final build.
Yeah,
Those dates just turned into soup for me.
Because we are sort of in the future, really. We're a couple months ahead when it comes to planning and some of the content that we have in game. So yeah, the dates kind of just are all over the place.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
We definitely want to talk about Sea Lion, as well as answer a few questions that you guys posted in the forums on Reddit and on Facebook. I'm just going to give you guys a heads up. Some of the questions were a little repetitive. Players want to know about very specific things. I think majority of them, because I actually had to remove one question about 20 times.
That just means they want to know that thing, right?
Yeah, they want to know that thing. So if I don't say your name while I'm asking the question, then don't worry. Believe me, there were other 20 people underneath that same one question in category.
So in short, Arlette's a bad person.
I am a very... Hey, I know I did put it on the forums. Like, if you ask more than 3, I'm going to delete the third one. I'm a bad cat.
Hard rules. If I answer it more than 3 times, you just kick me off the stream?
Well, okay, so if I would have actually collected every single question, if I didn't put the limit, I would have maybe triple, quadruple the stack of questions and sheets that I have right
A lot of
here.
dead trees.
So yeah, rip tree.
Anyway, Sea Lion.
Yeah, Sea Lion.
Sea Lion.
So can you talk a little bit more about it and what's the inspiration and initiative for Sea Lion in War Stories?
So Sea Lion's our third active war story. I had to think about that again, timing and all that. You are thrown into the shoes of Edwards, who is in a Cromwell, reaching into the brain, who has to defend the United Kingdom and London, specifically at the start of Sea Lion, against a alternate history German invasion. They've already reached, they're in London. They're basically, you are the last line of defense, and you have to push them all the way off the islands and save the day within the 3 chapters. It's pretty exciting, at least to me, because I really enjoy. This isn't quite fantasy, but it's probably as close as War Stories has gotten because, like, obviously this never really happened. But it's based off of a plan that the Germans had considered. They just never executed upon. So this is kind of a what if scenario of what if this had actually gone down? What if the Americans hadn't come in? Would that have influenced this decision or not? And how would it have looked like if they had to defend against the Germans? And here we are. Here's Sea Lion.
When you were talking about the development of Sea Lion compared to the other ones that we have, Brothers in Arms and Flashpoint.
There you go. That was a test. I gave you the test
I
face.
gave you the look.
Yeah.
Since there are instances that didn't really happen, how do you work with the design team, including production, to put these together and present them to the public, expecting something that it actually historically happened?
So like how did the alt history story, like what's the genesis all the way to the
Right.
shipping version? So what we really start with when we're doing a war story that's based off alternative history is like a lot of research of what would this look like? Who are the people that would be involved? What would the dates be? What would the tanks be? What time of year or what would the day be? For all of these things, where are the locations? And the start is very almost literal alt history, and what I mean by that is like what would the battle plans be, or how would it look like if this was an historical event? Then once we start there, we actually look into how to make a 3-chapter war story cool and an experience that you enjoy playing multiple times, and that's where the console shootery parts of the game get injected in, right? Like the actual literal historic tanks that may be involved with this alt history. Like, is there a better choice? Would there be a better engagement? Actually, a fun fact is Sea Lion was originally Valentine, which was probably closer to around the period this could have occurred. But as we played it, as we looked at the different missions, especially Chapter 2 of Sea Lion, which is actually really big and lets you make choices on how you want to solve it, we actually settled maybe the Cromwell's a better choice for this. And we play tested that, and that seemed to be better in terms of mobility and defense and the armament and the upgrades that we picked for the story variant of the tank. And then what would it look like? What enemy tanks would fight that? How would they get to the shores of the United Kingdom or Great Britain? Do these tanks exist in this time? Is it okay if they don't? You know what I mean? And then we get all that assembled, do the stories, do the little intro animatics and the outro, actually tell you enough about what is going on and give you context so you feel like narratively you're grounded in something fun happening, plus all the VOs in the chapters, without having to say, here, read this novel first, and then play this war story.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because we could go super in depth with that. We actually had stuff that was so complex, like the design staff would look at each other and say, wait, why? What are we doing here again? And we're like, all right, if we can't tell each other, there's no way we're going to communicate this in a video in the method we picked to the players. Let's refine it and make it something cooler and more to the nugget of what the intent was.
From the design aspect of it, what's the timeline between idea to right now having it in game?
For any war story or Sea Lion specifically?
Sea Lion specifically.
Sea Lion, fun fact, was actually the very first idea we had when it came to war stories. Like, it came before Brothers in Armor, it came before Flashpoint Berlin, and it had to cook the longest because we actually analyzed all of the different ways you could play it, because there's 2 principal factors in there, right? There's the German and the UK. Like, what would it look like from both ends? Which one should we play as? Like, who should the hero be? And that one actually kind of slowed down as we kind of lifted the other 3 war stories, including the not yet released Kennedy's War. And then we came back to it with all the lessons learned, re-injected a lot of the objectives, all of the gameplay, all of the lessons we learned, really kind of polished it. So it had the longest out of all the stories kind of cook time. Months, like 4 or 6 months. I don't remember how.
That is a hefty.
Well, when we very first thought of the idea of like, what if we had like single or cooperative like war stories before it even was called war stories, which is like co-op with a narrative. Like, if you really like, before it had a name, that was one of the first ideas. Is like it would be super cool to be fighting on the Great Britain and United Kingdom islands. So that's how we started.
I did end up posting a feedback thread for war stories, but way before Sea Lion came out. It was around 2 weeks after Brother in Armors and Flashpoint kind of were released. And,
Okay.
Players were suggesting other ideas other than historically based chapters. What kind of ideas is the development team looking for when it comes to something that players can contribute in the future?
One of the things that I am personally, and the design staff, not to put word in your guys' mouth, is really excited about is that since war stories, each individual war story is its own beast. Like, we have our own crew here, and we can make it whatever we want, is that really it's limitless on what we could do. Like, we've talked about, should the Lunar fight aliens? Is that a war story? Should the tugboat save the US from the Chinese invasion that never happened in World War II? Yeah, sure, let's talk about that. So a lot of the ideas that have not gotten any traction yet, and I don't mean they're bad, I just mean haven't gotten any development time, are the really, really fantastical ones. We've been really sticking into alt history because that seems to be where a lot of the traction has been. Anything that's in that kind of vein that has kind of tendrils into something new and unique, we'll listen to everything, but that is where the real magic is. Because like I said before on Sea Lion, you also have to explain it really quick. So I could say, Lunar fights aliens, like, you're like, yeah, let me shoot him. You don't need really know anything else like that. But if I'm like, well, the geopolitical situation caused China to invade, it's like, what? Who do I blow up? You know what I mean? That's kind of another audience we have to satisfy as well.
Noted. I'm getting a few comments from everyone. Brogue One, oh my God, tugboat. I think he liked that idea. So
we'll make one level where you just go across the ocean. You're just, I'm gonna get there. I'm kidding.
Another player is thankful for the snake bite after playing the chapter. So
Ooh,
yeah.
Snake bite and sea lion would be super fun. I haven't tried that yet. I totally want to try that now.
Dun dun dun. So yeah, I guess a lot of players are dropping their feet, but they are playing war stories. But I think we should give them a little bit more time since we released it this morning.
How long has it been out in terms of hours? Do you know off the top of your head?
It was released at 7 a.m.
Our time.
So
yeah,
so it
3 p.m.
Yeah, it wasn't really super early like when we do our builds or updates.
Okay, I gotcha.
So it wasn't that bad. I know I woke up and players were asking like, where is it? I don't see it. What happened? Did it get delayed? I'm like, no, it had a much later release date within the day. So it wasn't that bad. It was just a couple hours. But you can tell that players really wanted to play.
Yeah, we've actually investigated, and I think we were successful in adding just more server capacity to make sure that the queue lines weren't as long. Like, I don't remember exactly the specifics on that, but I remember when War Stories launched and people were playing Brothers in Armor and Flashpoint Berlin, like they were playing the waiting game. So that's not, nobody wants to do that. We don't want the players to do that. The players don't want to do that. So we were trying to address that, and we'll see if we were successful. I think we were.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to play fine. I did have issues trying to log in when we were on the press rooms at Gamescom.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to log in, and they're like, wait, we're waiting and waiting and waiting. But I think it's a good problem to have, I think, like players wanting to play War Stories. So, yeah.
Good for us, not for them. Yeah. No one wants to wait.
Oh, no, you're making me feel bad.
I'm sorry,
you guys waited. But yeah, don't forget to give War Stories Operation Sea Lion a try. It is available under the War Stories game mode on World Tanks console, either Xbox or PlayStation 4. So, should we get started on these questions?
It's up to you. This is your show. I'm here for the ride.
Oh, okay, so.
Oh, now I'm super excited. Heavy grunt. Oh, God.
No,
we have to answer questions.
You have no idea how much I've seen some of these questions in the forums. Like, it's crazy. And again, the one question that just got 20 asked for the same thing over and over again. So, we're going to start with the golden egg. Is that good?
I guess so.
Okay.
Well, wait, before you start.
Oh, you're killing the what?
Here's the context, is you're all waiting to see what she's about to say. So am I. I kind of feel like you're about to hit me in the face with an oar. Like you've built this up so much. Yeah, you're just wham.
Questions, like, question time.
And based on what this question might be, there could be people out there watching saying, maybe you should hit him in the face with an oar. Hit me in the face with the oar.
Okay, question number 1. This is from Decanor from the forums. When are we getting?
Oh God!
Hey, we keep getting this question at maps. When are the players getting them back?
Maps. You know what? I feel your pain as much as you do, I guess. Why did English fail me there? So right now, I think we have over like 40 maps out and like over 80 if you count the variants.
85.
So 85 maps right now, but I still understand if there's maps that were in there that are not in there. It never feels good to have something taken away, and we are trying to figure out how to get these maps back in. There's one thing I can tell you, which is a very specific answer of something that's being addressed as I talk, and hopefully will get out to everyone soon, is as we looked into the current maps that are in there, we're about to deploy, once testing gives it the rubber stamp of good to go, a better distribution of the maps that are on the game, are active in random battle right now, to try to alleviate anyone who might potentially be seeing repeats too often. What it should do is on battle tier 4 to max, you should have a chance to get any map in the game except for like stuff that would be ludicrous. Like I think province at tier 10 would be kind of ridiculous. You'd be seeing each other during the countdown because you're. Although honestly, kind of a side note, I want to see that. That would just turn into like a slaughterfest instantaneously.
We should do a couple of those in team training.
So I'm not trying to poo-poo the answer. I'm not trying to dodge the question. I don't have an answer on when. What I can say is what we've got right now within what we have, we're doing everything we can to reduce the problem of anybody who doesn't think they're seeing enough of what is already available. So hopefully that'll be released ASAP, because I personally did the work on that redistribution of the battle tier leveling and the weighting in the maps, and we'll see once that releases. But that is a band-aid to be sure, and the long-term fix I can't give an answer to. But that's hopefully more information than soon, which I know would make me angry.
Another thing, based on the maps, players were asking the reason behind the were removed as to why. We were trying to get information to kind of provide you guys, but it is technicalities and also, you know, just design issues that, not issues, but challenges that we have to overcome when it comes to like the size of the maps. Personally, I don't think the why would change the outcome anyway. It's something that we need to address and kind of take care of. But like Jeff said, it's going to take some time. For now, you're going to provide, well, your team, the whole team is going to provide some sort of a solution while we keep working on these maps and then hopefully get them back. Does that sound fair?
It's totally fair.
Okay.
I think one other thing I will say about the maps is we don't just like yank content out of the map and go out of the game and go, yeah, to heck with them. I mean, we love you guys and gals, and we want to have all the, because we worked on that, like all of our artists and level designers and everything. We put a lot of effort in there, and we want to clear the roadblock just as much as you guys do. We want to get that stuff back in there as quick as we can.
Another question. This comes from Real Fugar. When are we going to get more emblem spots in the tanks?
Emblem spots. All right, so typically, but not all the time, most tanks have two that are either left and right turret or left and right hull. That's actually kind of a misnomer, because the way we have to set up all the tanks is if you have multiple hulls or you have multiple turrets, we have to set up the positions for every one of that tank's turrets and hulls, because just because you upgrade it with a package, it doesn't mean it'd be acceptable for one of those to disappear. So in terms of adding more spots, totally technically possible. We would just need to look at every individual module out of those modules and find room and space to put all those things. So that would just take time. If there is specific tanks that have higher priority to people, that might be helpful to hear, but that's not a promise that that would be a fast turnaround to put that stuff in. Because one other thing we also have to remember is if we add even just one more emblem to every tank in the game, so it's max 2 to max 3, that is actually 30 more emblems that are in memory, right? Because they could be 30 completely separate emblems with 30 tanks on the field.
Correct.
And we need to make sure that works. Just because technically I can put the data in doesn't mean the engineers are happy when I blow up our memory pool. So we'd have to test that as well.
Templar Knight 75. Is it possible for us to get more camouflage patterns like solid color camos?
The short answer is yes, that is possible. Camo is per nation and per season, although I know urban isn't a season. So we would just have to pick which lines, which season, and I'm sorry, not which lines, which nations, which seasons, maybe all, and then implement them. So like if there's a specific color or historically accurate shade of RGB value of your choice, let us know, because we love adding content that people can use and enjoy.
Another question, and I do have the answer. What's the word on tier 9, 10 premiums? Nothing at this time. So that is actually coming straight from Pain God himself.
No, that was easy for me to answer.
Let's see. Oh, Dwarf on Drugs. I love your gamer tag. Where are the double cap assaults for competitive scene?
The double cap. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, assault mode, in the tournament, I believe first on the PC, they had 2 bases for the assault defenders to defend. So if everybody's dogpiling base 1, the attacking team can go get base 2. So that's really interesting because it causes you to split up your teams or all in on one base. It's up to you, right? It's an interesting kind of gameplay mechanic. It is something that is in our code base from upgrades to PC. It's just on the list to turn on. It's actually something that just recently, even today, came to the limelight as, no, really, we should do this. So we are working on it. It's just in the queue, and I don't know exactly when it's coming out. Hopefully by the end of the year, but that's not a promise.
Thorman Pro, I actually have an answer for this one. Can you add the Maltese flag to the emblems, and can you add unique use by the British camo for Malta? Answer is I logged 2 tickets and they're actually on Designs Plate. There you go, Jeff. I give you stuff.
Making work. No, that's great.
Double X tab. Can we get multiple zoom levels? 2x, 3x when zoom in and in sniper cam?
So actually, we looked at this before we launched on the Xbox 360 way back in the day when we were all young. We found actually that any system with a console controller that had 3 states automatically adds risk and potential confusion, because it's our burden to tell you, the players, which one you're in, because unlike a PC which has a giant keyboard or a mouse that you can completely configure, we are, if you may have noticed, fresh out of buttons, and it would have to be, no zoom, zoom 1, zoom 2's no zoom. There's probably other ways to map that, but as we play tested even more than 3 or 3, we found that 2 was doing the whole job and dialed back to that. Now we can reconsider that decision and figure out if maybe an option's appropriate or if there's just time to look at that. But so far it's done its job, I think.
Relan NC, how long till we get custom weekly bits as mentioned in the Q&A a month back?
Actually, this is another thing that I actually Skyped Pain God while we were waiting here, and I have to say no word at this time.
Weekly bits.
I know.
It's probably still in the build base process as of now. Just answering Steampunk Pagan, who posted on Twitch about NATO flag and NATO flag. I'm sorry.
Nano flag.
Yeah,
I was like, that sounds awesome.
And UN flags. We have a ticket for that, so stay tuned for that one, buddy. And are we going to sell the Type 59 Legion 59 patent and the T95E2 soon? Because I really, really want them. This comes from Camelman FN.
This is where I get to throw you and everyone you work with under the bus. So the way it works, the way World of Tanks in terms of the actual premium tanks, since we're talking about premium tanks work, is it's up to the development team, basically everyone I have the honor to represent in this stream right now, to make these tanks cool, amazing, and maintain them once they're out in the wilds, i.e. you guys have your hot hands on them. When they go on sale, how much they cost, what comes with them, is completely out of the development's hands. Now, that's not to say I don't have recommendations or suggestions, nor does that mean I can't say, hey, people are asking for these tanks, let's provide them again. What I can say is it's not like I have the keys to the kingdom and I can just like flip a switch and they're on sale again. So I will bring it up, but it's not my decision to make.
Ruthless for you. Seeing Xbox versions currently has arena and user-made tournaments, what if an exclusive PS content can PS4 users expect when it comes to the tournament?
You mean it like Xbox has the tournaments?
Yeah.
What do we get on PS4 land?
Yes.
We're working on getting parity of having tournaments in PS4 as well. So soon, apples to apples.
My pen ran out of ink.
No, oh, hey, it made ink.
It made ink. It hurt my cries. This is another question from him. Was this Penguin or was this you?
Are you saying Pain God asked us a question?
Yeah, no, because I did get a note on this one. Given World of Tanks has 2 direct competitors on PS4, what is the motivation to keep playing World of Tanks on PS4 when its competition is not faced with the restriction
That is me.
of keeping content parity with the Xbox 360, in addition of only Xbox players having recently added Xbox Arena and user-made tournaments?
I'm going to read my, no, I'm not going to read my answer, but I want to refresh my answer because I remember this question. It was really important.
This ink. Archie, do you have a pen?
Archie with the pen safe.
You made more ink. Whatever.
You better give us another pen, Archie. Who's avoiding the camera like a
ninja.
Mastermind.
Wow, kudos to you, Archie.
All right. You may think that was a distraction to dodge that question. It wasn't.
No.
So, I mean, I love Watt, and I love Watt on both ecosystems, all 3 consoles that it's on right now. I also am a huge fan, both personally and professionally, of competition. I think that's what pushes us as developers to do really good things. And I also think, just as a consumer and gamer myself, that's what makes different companies that make games I enjoy push and be influenced and get better stuff. If you are on the Xbox or you on the PS4 and you're enjoying our game, great. If there's something else that's competing that you're like, you know what, this is pulling my attention, I would love to know what that is or why that is, but that doesn't influence really a specific platform decision for us. It's just, hey, here's a neat thing that someone else is doing. Does this influence us? Does this affect our systems? Can we do better? Or what are we going to do about this? That's really the best answer I have for that is just that. So I think that's a good answer.
Hokies. I actually have an answer from Pain God. Will you ever redesign Scorpion Pass or expand that map like it used to be on PS4? Currently, 9-0 line is just broken and it's one of the worst maps in game. What? I love that map. Shame. And Pain God replies, we will take a look at Scorpion Pass performance. After a quick look, it looks like lower tier matches on the map, maybe favoring a team. So there you go. And also, Koneko the Best on Twitch is saying that we're only asking bad questions and answering bad questions. That's not true. These actually came from our community, so I think they're as important as I think all of the questions.
What do you mean bad questions? Like questions that are phrased poorly? Or just questions that are mean? I don't know what bad means. I'm answering the questions that she's asking.
Yeah, and these are questions that our players on the forums and Reddit are asking. So, also Facebook. Shout out to Chowder, by the way, for giving me those cues. This one's pretty cool. This one's from Keithstone79. Can we get a special all-season camo for those players that buy the 360-day premium package? Black Friday discounts or not shouldn't really matter, but players that put money into the game should get a little extra out of it, an incentive, so to speak.
I don't know about that actual implementation of giving camo to people to buy a year of goodness, but I totally agree that incentives for, if you're doing that, ballers such as you, is something that we're looking into and is really important. So thank you, and we'll look into it.
Shout out to Archie, my favorite cameraman. This is from Dr. Mirage.
Yay, Archie.
Thank you for coming over to the player gathering, by the way.
Yay, Archie.
Yay. Another question. What's the possibility of getting custom inscriptions in the game? You can filter dirty words for crew customization, so it should be possible to make out inscriptions. Gotta say, we'll like it.
So a dirty little secret is one of the reasons that crew customization and the swear filter, for lack of a better term, was a little bit of an easier ask than custom inscriptions. Is two things. Is one, the crew names themselves are only ever present in the garage. You don't see them during battle. And two, we don't have to translate that into a material or texture that is not only put on every tank, but could be different on multiple inscription points on every tank. So that becomes an in-game memory concern, kind of similar, Jesus. My mouth just fell apart.
Me too, I'm having problems.
Similar to the third emblem question. So while yes, it is possible to use the same system in case somebody makes an inscription that's like Poopy McButtface or something like that, like that's only half the problem. Now we have to condense that or print that to a material or texture, find the right space on the tank, and then send that data to all the other players as well.
Arsh, that's a name, not lying. Any news on the replay system?
Working on it. That's all the news I have. I don't know what else I can talk about.
Testing, so, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why this question keeps coming up. This comes from Steampunk Pagan. I think we addressed it and readdressed it several times. I'm not saying your question is bad, but it might be good to give a refresher. Can you give us a date on when we expect to discontinue support on 360?
As soon as nobody's playing with it. Like, honestly, I look at the numbers of people playing on 360. I play on 360. I remember at the event we had just last weekend, I said, shout out if you're a 360 player, and everybody started clapping. Not everybody, a lot of people started clapping wholeheartedly. If this is born out of some sort of anxiety that like you have this hardware and you love it and you love our game and you don't want it to go away, rest easy, there are no plans. If it's born from any other motivation, rest easy, it's sticking around. There you go.
Carpute211, when will we get environmental physics? I mean, walls breaking for a single brick, etc.
Oh, more than just like if I shoot a wall, the whole thing collapses. You actually want to like push one brick through the wall and watch it physics fall apart and that kind of good stuff.
I did write a ticket about someone suggesting that there should be weight limits on bridges. I think that's a really cool idea.
That's actually a super cool idea.
Yeah.
There is an interesting thing. I don't want to get too technical, but the way that the server handles the navigable surfaces, which is anywhere a tank can go that isn't airborne, is something we're looking at for a dynamic modifications. So like for instance, having a bridge buckle underneath you based on having too many togs is something that is not directly something we're looking at, but the systems that would allow that to happen is under investigation, because that would honestly involve new server messages, because that's a lot different than wall block shot or allow shots to pass through until you either run over it with tank or blast it enough. It's just a different system once the physics of the tank's landing on top of it.
Simpus1194, new sounds. I want something like hearing shells sound after firing from sniper view, and sound depends on caliber where firing. Most impact would be from 152 millimeter guns.
We actually have been iterating quite a bit on the audio system. We just got a new audio engine in, which I know our audio engineer was like dancing in the streets for that. And if I'm in sniper view, yeah, you can hear the breech open and the shell fall in the interior inside of the tank, depending on which tank you're in. Like, I know I've heard that. So we'll look into specific calibers to see if it needs to be more funky, for lack of a better term.
Do you want me to make a note?
Sure, sure. Always make another note.
All right. YRHIK Bobber. Sorry, how would I even read that? For the team battle mode, you need a voice command in the chat wheel. For example, stick together. Have you guys ever considered reviewing the command wheel depending on battle modes?
We actually have. One of the things that's interesting about that, if it actually harkens back, you remember we were talking about different levels of zoom? You build something usually as a player called muscle memory, and when those wheel positions change or change their context, it's up to us as developers to make sure that's learnable and intuitive to everyone. So when we've talked about either adding or changing different radio commands, it's a decision of, does it disappear? Is it grayed out? Kind of like a small repair kit in the modules. What is the right solution there? And honestly, we haven't found something that is so important that people would use a lot that we need to bump the count or figure out how to implement those systems. I mean, maybe for like war stories in different cooperative modes, maybe there's something there, but it's not something we're actively pursuing right now.
This one's interesting. Can we get something like how exactly our reload is visible on the screen, rate of fire with more consumables and more?
Reload, there's the bar and the timer.
Yeah,
is
but
that
I
what he's
think
referring
something
to?
more visible, other than just seeing.
Okay, so if the question is, or if a statement is, I know there's a reload bar and there's a number that's counting down, but I can't see that, we'll look into that visibility. If it's something more complex than that, like I want to visualize it in a different way, I'd have to ask for what specifically do you mean so I know which problem we want to solve, because that could be two different things, right? It could either be someone who asked this question saying like, oh wait, there is that information, I never even noticed that, which is the developer's bad, we got to make sure that that's clear. Or it could be, yeah, I get all that, but I need more. And then we would need to know what that more, what itch that would scratch.
I'll do follow-up. What about tier 10 lights?
What about them?
They're asking questions.
No comment on
no
tier 10 lights.
Gotcha. The dynamic performance of the tank in the hangar. This comes from INSEF. I think more
dynamic performance.
I'm reading it as interactive, but I don't know what you take on that. What's your take on that?
If we're talking about performance, like your stats, like this is how this tank performs, and I assume you mean dynamic in terms of as you select different packages or mount or dismount equipment, how do I see those stats going up and down? That's actually feedback we've gotten before and we're looking into. If we're talking about the physical machine in the garage and that being more dynamic, I'm not sure how to take that.
So Deconor posted, pretty sure he's talking about a visible garage UI to show how consumables and crew skills affect your tank stat.
Oh, so the first thing I talked about, yeah. So my Uber crew has all 25 skills and perks, and I have 3 pieces of equipment, and I've put a repair kit and a rammer and blah, blah, blah all in my tank. How is that making it better than a stock tank or a tank of that normal package? Yeah, that is something we're looking into.
This one's pretty cool. JellyPenny08. The button functionality to convert from free XP could be removed to stop people trying to use it, but having the ability to calculate your percentage train and see it as an XP figure, it's really useful. What are your thoughts on maybe just leaving it there in the garage?
Oh, so you can't actually do it, but
No.
you can scale through it to see what the number might be? Is that
Yeah,
what we're-
because when you go to the crew, you just see like the bar. You don't see the numbers as when you're converting free XP to crew XP whenever we have it available. So players want to see numbers.
That's the real problem. It's not you. You don't want a menu that does nothing, because I think that would be even more frustrating. I'd almost be tempted to put like a Raz noise when you hit the A button, like sorry. And that would be terrible.
Oh,
I'd
no.
never do that. All right, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, follow up. I can't write for the life of me.
better than me.
Oh, well, they're asking for unique Japanese, Czech, and maybe British premiums. I think that's currently affected on our roadmap, right? I mean, we always have new.
The tanks that are coming, like it's
Yeah.
just an assembly line, literally, in terms of art, to get all these things in there.
This one was also one of the most asked questions. Justified, when is the next tank balance pass? I know in our Battle Heroes, we say we were going to do one in the fall, but to what degree?
So the next version of the game that's coming out soon, that actually just went into our stable branch, and for those who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, and who could blame you if you don't, the way our pipeline works whenever we release a new game in terms of development is there's the main branch, which is where we're all working in as developers, and when that version is due or done, it goes into a stable branch, which is, all right, don't touch it unless there's bugs or something we need to really fix, or so on and so forth. That's the thing that test really hammers on, not that they don't test the main. And once it's in that staging area, it gets super tested and all sorts of stuff just before it gets released. So where the game is right now has what I would call above average and significant balance pass across quite a few of the tanks. I don't want to say the majority because then I'm going to freak out. We also, in between these major balance passes, two things about that is we always look at all of our vehicles and maps to see how we can make them better or more tuned or more balanced, as the case may be. And B, I don't want to set the expectation of major balance pass means there's this artificial date we set. We have to change a bunch of numbers because it's a major balance pass milestone, because that's really dangerous, right? Like if you take something and you're like, this looks kind of okay, but it's major balance pass time. Let's get in there. And like, if it ain't broke, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where we are right at this time.
Okay. Mickey Rambo 79, will we be getting reusable consumables like on PC?
There's no plans for that, but we do have, like I can put 2 repair kits on my tank right now. Not a reusable one, but you can use it multiple times, 1 per.
Bordier X111, will we ever see Italian tanks even at low tiers? It'll be nice to see some actual tanks, not just hypothetical ones.
No comment.
Oh,
we're looking at a lot of cool
said a lot
tanks.
by no comment.
Did you like that pause with the smile?
Yeah, totally.
There's so much I would love to talk about. Tanks, like I said, are coming down the line the whole time, whether it's hero tanks, variants, new tanks, you name it. So I'm excited by all that stuff, and a lot of it I'm muzzled on, just to be honest.
Howkies, I'm uncomfortable with the new color maps art styles that came with the last update. Could you give us the option to choose between the new and old art?
He's uncomfortable with them?
Yeah.
There's actually a pass on all of them that we're working on with that next major build that should make them all better. But to be transparent, it's not reverting to the previous version. Our goal was to give you more of a color is another channel to communicate, right? Where you can have a clearer picture of where you are from a top-down perspective. But we did see that we can make it even better than what we have out there right now, but it is not a rollback. Sorry.
I do have to say, when I looked at the maps, I have like eye problems, so it was in the beginning a little hard for me to see, but I'm kind of getting used to it. But if there's an improvement on it, go for it. Metal Rodent, is there a chance that we could see the Challenger split into 2 to be the historical separate Challenger and Avenger? They have different hulls and different purposes.
Yeah, write that down.
Oh. Well then, if today we're fulfilling wishes, and you can follow up.
Whoa. Fulfilling wishes. Everything that we're saying, make a note on, is stuff that we'll investigate. They're not promissory notes of, give me a week and you got it.
Open Squash 728. I love these gamer tags. Will we ever see the Fury again this year? I only had enough gold to pick up Tiger 131 last time.
No, you know what? I remember the previous conversation about tanks going on sale. Not up to me. Not up to me. I know it exists, but I don't know when it's going to be in the store.
Bum, bum, bum. Well, this question is, I'm just going to ask it, but
All right, I'm ready.
Oh, wow. Oh, you cracked
I'm ready.
your knuckles.
Knuckle
That's
cracking
unbelievable.
time.
OMG Grizzly. What's the reason behind making reskin premiums instead of releasing brand new ones? Example, why release the Senshi STA2 instead of releasing the Object 252U Defender? Question mark.
People seem to really love our reskin tanks. I also think a lot of people aren't fans, and you know what? Don't buy them. They also are a different pipeline than making brand new or tank variants or whatever, like more tech tree tanks, different premium tanks, whatever. But like, we continue to do those because I think they're super cool, and people seem to consume them and like them.
Yeah, I mean, that is also a factor. I mean, it is premium content, but no one is obligated to purchase it. I mean, it's just there for whoever wants it. It is free to play. War Hero 988. When will the Czech Commander voice be added to the game? That is true. We released crew voices, but we did not add the Czech audio. Should be.
It's at this point that I want to pat myself on the back for not swearing. I don't think I've sworn this stream because I almost just said rhymes with duck. Yeah, we're fixing that.
Dun dun. Any plans? Oh, we already talked about that one. Rechargeable consumables. Oh no, I posted a repeat.
What have you done?
I know. Mashman90. Any plans to give artillery the nerf stun mechanic?
I think I talked about this on a previous stream. I think I also remember it because somebody in the live chat on the stream, like, let me have it after I have voiced kind of our opinion on this, which I totally respect. I love everyone's opinions. We've looked at that, and personally, and within the design team, and also with like feedback we've gotten, the stun mechanic basically is good for the PC version of the game. I think for the console, it's going to remove fun from everybody. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm an arty. I'm used to, if I'm really good and I roll the dice right within the dispersion, within a guy who decides to not move in an open area, even though they know that there's arties on the enemy team, I'm going to land a shell on top of them. Right now, because he chose not to move, or he had sixth sense and knew he was sensed, or saw detected, or maybe just got unlucky, he's going to blow up and I'm going to get a kill and I'm going to go, yeah, and he's going to be kind of angry. What I think happens with the stun shells is I fire off a shell as an arty. The guy gets stunned. I go, okay, at least he's stunned, go get him. It relies on team play for everybody to wolfpack that guy as he's stunned. And I'll ask you, I'll just actually put it to you guys, if you're not in a platoon or in a large platoon, how often does everybody go, yeah, I got your back, I'm gonna go get that guy you stunned, arty? Like, as arty players, how often do you get that kind of experience? Maybe it's greater than I am anticipating. And now the guy who got hit by the stun round is basically sitting there with his legs, his chassis cut off, waiting for this meter to recharge or using a consumable or whatever, while other guys whittle him down. It just seems like nobody's having any fun with that mechanic. It's still something we'll look into, and I know I'm coming down on it really hard, but it's just something that raises a lot of concern in terms of the dynamic for me. I'll be honest.
Question from Twitch, and it seems like a lot of people are asking about it. Jira. Robert, could someone tell us what's wrong with Ace Tanker badges in-game?
There's a problem with Ace Tinker badges in-game? He asked.
I think it's the master. Remember that there were...
Oh, the Marks of Excellence?
Yes.
Or...
Well, there is a fix for that. I remember checking before coming in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know if you had more information about that. But there is a fix coming in.
I think what we've just revealed is I don't have my finger on the pulse of everything. That's awesome. I'm sorry there was a problem. It's cool that there's a fix coming in.
Yes.
And I apologize to the community for not instantly knowing what we're talking about.
Moving on. Well, actually, we have 4 pages and we have 8 minutes, so let's try to get some answers. When will we see PC map Pilsen come to console? This comes from Smithy FX.
TBD. I can't honestly say soon when we're still fighting the previous map issue that we opened the match with, the stream with. So that's where we are.
Vivid Fun, and apologies because apparently I asked the question wrong last time. So again, will we ever see personal missions like exist on PC version when you have lots of small missions that finally end with a small reward tank and have no time limit? Last time this question was answered, apparently I asked it wrong. Thoughts?
We're not working on that right now. We're focusing on the objectives and rewards for the war stories that we're coming out with, as well as keeping the op system healthy. So that is not being worked on right this time.
Dr. Mirage, who's actually watching us, damage, cost, and damage block tickets allows kind of like warships on in-game match UI.
Oh, like the flags? Or I'm sorry, the ribbons?
Ribbons.
Flags. Yeah, we'll look into it.
Any updates regarding Xbox, Xbox One, and PS4 crossplay? We answered this one before.
This one comes up every time. Here's the quick version. I'd love to do it. It's out of my hands.
Yeah. No, even TJ said it that internally we can, but that's up to Microsoft and Sony to discuss. I mean, we can't do anything about that.
I guess we could be completely rebellious and just try to do it anyway, but then they'd probably sue us, both of them. Let's not do that.
Yeah, they'll get angry at us. I like pedaling. Good for you. A shooting range with stationary tanks so that I can compare the next cannon so I don't spend a night trying to get an upgrade, only realize it wasn't worth the effort. That's fair.
So he means before he actually commits to the upgrade?
Yeah, kind of like a test arena.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting idea, because before I was going to say try out Proving Grounds, but that's for things you already own. We'll look into a try before you buy. No promises on that one. That one could be super complex in a can of worms. The game does not like it when you have a vehicle in play that you don't own.
When will artillery be limited to 1 or 2 members per side? I don't think that's actually... This comes from Buffalo Billy J.
Oh, that's a matchmaking question. We'll look into that too.
No,
that's it.
That's it? In a standard 15 versus 15 battle... I'm sorry. Platoons of 3 and 4 man RD parties have created a stalemate campfest environment. Well, if we actually limit the number of artilleries, you won't be able to get that special honor on Portal where you have to destroy 5 artilleries in one match. So that will completely negate some of the medals and special achievements that we have in Portal.
That also reminds me, because you said platoons, we in general try to remove any barrier to platoons that we possibly can. I mean, there's obvious ones like battle tier that you've seen the unavailable or not valid within what the host has picked. But if we do anything there, you won't be able to do 5-player of at least RDs. So careful what you ask for. We'll look for it.
SDF Cardinal, platoon communications have been messed up since the most recent update. I'm not going to continue with this question because I have a ticket for it and it's actually on live team's hands. This also includes that currently you can only join a platoon when the leader is in the garage. That's also another ticket.
Yep. Those I am aware of.
Since console strives on not following PC, can you please do constant microbalancing of tanks over sweeping changes that causes unbalanced tanks to roam around for ages? Examples is the FB4005. He says that it's been feeling bad forever, and its brother, the 215B183.
Bad is in nerfed or OP?
That's a good question. He doesn't say. So I'm just going to say...
We'll take a look at those two specific tanks. And also, the answer is right now, we're constantly combing our analytics to see who the worst offenders are in terms of either outliers or on either direction, either terrible tanks or two amazing tanks, to see what we can do about it. I gave a whole talk on that like just last weekend.
Oh, that's right. We're going to do a quick snippet about that. Rogue Merc 96, can you please be quicker to respond on issues with tank packages?
Yes.
For example.
Oh, was that too quick?
No. Yeah. For example, I have been asking for the Cromwell with a Howitzer, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, sorry, as a top package, but nothing has happened. You claim the package system is easier than PC, but I don't see how begging for over a year, I'm sorry, to get my preferred gun on a tank is easier than letting me choose it on the first place.
We'll take a look. The reason the package system works isn't because we're, like, again, similar to the map thing, it's not like we're going, we're restricting. Yeah, it's tank packages and assembly of modules that make sense for the builds of the vehicle. And when there's something like that, which if there's a ticket on that, just throw it my way. We usually address it faster than this. I'm sorry if it's been years, or I'm unaware of why there's a problem with that build and I need to talk to our tank designers. But either way, I'll take a look.
Dun, dun, dun. Is there a genetic time frame for the new German Heavy? I'm grinding specifically for the mouse and I'd like to know how much time I got. This comes from Stampella.
It's coming in exactly, I can't talk about it. I'm sorry, that was a jerk move.
You know what? I think we kind of missed a couple questions, but
Well, you have a giant pile of paper
I
here.
know, but we actually went through most. I am in shock. And some of them were repeats. Oh no, there's a sheet right here that doesn't, just one.
No, you've been here, there's stars and stuff.
Yeah, I know, but okay. Oh, this is lasting damage. Why can't we get a chance to buy the Type 62? And then Grey Weasel UK says that he can actually see the tank in Proving Grounds. I'm gonna follow up with that because that tank should not be there.
So he wants to see it and it's not in there.
Yeah, he was.
That's actually a great point. Like again, we make the tank functional and work according to the specified parameters that we want in terms of design and art and blah, blah, blah. When it goes on sale, I'm pointing towards Arlette. She has the
Okay.
keys to the store.
So there's like probably 3 or 4 questions that we didn't answer. We're running out of time. We need to end in actually a minute and a half. But we're going to do a transcript and post all of your questions and answers on the forums, and then we're going to share them on Twitter. If you still have more, please send them through my PM. Follow me on Twitter. You can contact me there. Also on Discord, on Reddit, on Google+, and on email weeklyassault@wargaming.net. That's right. I check all of them, unfortunately.
You're not on Friendster?
Well, now I have to be on Friendster. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us at the player gathering this past weekend.
Yeah,
it
that was a lot of
awesome.
fun. That was a lot of fun.
Jeff had an awesome presentation, and I'm actually going to put him on the spot and ask him if he could actually do the presentation on a live stream.
Right now?
No, in the future.
I was going to say, it was about, what was that, 40 minutes?
It was a 40 minutes presentation.
I have no problem doing that.
Awesome. So, yeah, I know Soviet Dead recorded some of the presentation, but definitely want to have that. It was very honest. It was raw. There were numbers and stats, and it was crazy good. So,
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for joining us. A lot of questions, and thank you for your honesty. And apologies if some of the answers were not the ones you were looking for, but as we are right now, we're gonna keep working on some of the things that you guys have been asking, especially those maps, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just straight up.
My name is RaiBOT01. I'm here with Jeff Gregg, lead game designer for World of Tanks console.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a nice cat day.
Nice cat day. Bye.